Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a very well-known horror game released back in 2010. Judging by the global unlocks of the achievements, it seems most people that own the game have not played it yet, most likely due to them not wanting to have a self-induced heart attack. So, if you... oh, yeah, we'll just sit right back here. Anyway, whether you're just buying the game or have been putting it off for a while like I had, I'm going to descend into the dark depths of Amnesia for you, and show you how to get 100% of the achievements. If you get value from this video, drop a like and consider subscribing. So, to start things out, you know what? This is not worth it. Yep, so the first achievement is Nope. And what you need to do is basically just, as soon as you wake up at the beginning of the game, just hit escape and exit to the main menu. The next 5 are all non-missable story achievements that you'll get before reaching the end of the game. Alchemist is for removing the shadow's wall that blocks your way to the refinery. You'll just need to use your jar of acid on it, and the achievement will pop. For Escape Artist, you'll need to escape the water creature in the cellar archives. You'll basically just need to jump from box to box until you get to the end, where you'll need to throw body parts into the water as distractions long enough to raise the last gate and run to the exit. Descendant is for getting the elevator working and taking it down to the prison. Pipeworker is for getting the water level lowered in the cisterns so that you can go through the sewers. Quitter is for failing to escape the cells by getting consumed by the shadow. For this one, after you get all of the orb pieces and are captured, you'll break out of your cell area and unlock the door. As you go down the hall and the shadow comes up behind you, just turn around and run straight into it. Restorer is for collecting all pieces of the orb and putting it together in the stand right before the inner sanctum. There are 3 possible endings you can get which all have achievements associated to them, one of which you'll need to have made the potion for Agrippa and taken his head, which is somewhat difficult to figure out if you don't have some direction to go off of, so I'll go over that first and then get into the endings. In order to make the potion, you'll need to do the following things. Gather the meat in the cells part of the nave, gather the string from the transept, and once you grab the string, attach it to the jar that you have and drop it into the grate full of blood to gather some blood. You can also do this in a room that's unlocked after you're captured. You'll also need to gather the poison gland from the choir just outside the room with the bull. This one you can also get after being captured if you missed it by going towards the choir, and there should be fungi where the cave-in is. After you get captured and escape, you can take the meat and attach it to the rope at the well. Lower it down, and the water monster will eat it. Bring it back up, and take the remains with you. You can also do this in another well near the transept before being captured. Once you've escaped being captured, the laboratory will also now be open, and you can go in there. In here, you'll boil the jar of blood, place the jar under the vice and squeeze the poison into it, and then place the remains inside the contraption on the table and use it to add its properties to the mixture in the jar. Doing all of that will finish off the potion, and then you'll be able to use it to free Agrippa and take his head with you to the end. Now to get Benefactor, you'll need to rescue Agrippa at the end. Once you're in the ending room and Alexander is giving his monologue, you'll need to wait until the portal opens fully. Use Agrippa's head on the portal, and then you'll get the achievement. For Survivor, you'll need to kill Alexander in the ending room. You do this by knocking over the 3 pillars while he's giving his speech, which you basically just push or pull the pillars to a specific side for a few seconds and it'll tip over. For Sacrifice, you need to allow Alexander to escape. Basically, you just need to get to the end and go AFK for a few minutes, and eventually, he'll finish his ritual and the game will end. Illuminatus is for picking up every single tinderbox in the Dark Descent. I'll be going through each level with the map pulled up on the left side of the screen, a red circle to mark which one is being shown, and of course the footage of me grabbing the item filling out the rest of the screen. And if you'd like to skip the collectible section of the video, which takes a little while, go to this time. Master Archivist is for picking up all of the notes in the Dark Descent and also in Amnesia Justine. Just like with the tinderboxes for Illuminatus, I'll go through each level with the map on the left side of the screen, the footage of me grabbing the note in game, and a red circle to mark which one is being shown. Still Alive is for reading this specific note hidden behind a book on this bookshelf in the library while going through Amnesia Justine. There are 3 achievements for saving certain amounts of victims in the Justine DLC while getting to the end. Since you aren't able to make saves, you'll have to fully play through 3 times, at least. Egotist is for killing or not saving all 3 of the victims in a run. Vacillator is for allowing some to die, but saving at least 1 victim. I'd recommend only saving the second one, as the first takes a lot of time, and the third one is pretty dangerous. Altruist is for saving all 3 of the victims during a run. Now I'll go over how exactly you save each of the victims, and also how you kill them. To save the first victim, you'll need to grab the ladder down on the left part of the first hall. Take that over to the room with all of the cells, stack boxes underneath the hatch until you can jump up to grab it and pull it down. Then toss the ladder up there and climb up. Now to kill the first victim, all you'll need to do is pull the lever next to his cell down until the spike comes down and kills him. To save the second victim, you'll need to grab slide 3 and slide 4 from rooms in the library. Once you have both of these, you'll go to the small cell window that has a lever below it and put slide 3 in the bottom slot and put slide 4 in the top slot. Once these are in place, you can pull the lever down and he'll tell you to look out for Justine and that she may be close. This is your sound cue that he has been saved. To kill him, you'll just need to pull the lever a few times and you'll be able to tell when he's dead from the sound cue. Now to save the third victim, you'll need to move very quickly. Once you grab the lever and go through the first door, immediately pull the lever on the other side to bring it back down. Run to the right to grab the cog, take it to the left side to complete the machinery, and get through the next door the same way. You'll have a very short amount of time once through this last one, so immediately close the door and run to the right. You'll need to turn the left wheel that has an open door to the left of it. Get it down to where it's almost touching the water, and then you should be good. Quickly run to the exit area and spin the wheel high enough for you to squeeze through and sprint to the end. Now to kill this victim, all you need to do is run straight to the exit without doing anything with the victim's cell. Now for the last 2 achievements. To get Masochist, you'll need to do one thing that sounds quite difficult. Finish the Dark Descent on hard mode. Now this actually was not nearly as difficult as I thought it would be. For the most part, you can run through grabbing all the tinderboxes and oil that you can find, and hide when monsters spawn just as you did during your normal playthrough. I'd recommend not picking up any notes other than the one in the very beginning that you have to, as that will cause the playthrough to be a bit harder, and you'll need to make sure you frequently take advantage of light sources to keep your sanity up while still conserving as much oil as possible. Now I actually made it through hard mode without dying until I got to the inner sanctum, but there are a few areas that are recommended for you to save at. If you pick up as many tinderboxes as you possibly can, you should have 1 or 2 extra saves that you can throw in if there's a certain area that you had more trouble with during your normal playthrough. I'd recommend at least saving once you get to back hall, once you go down the elevator, before you go into the morgue, after you get through the sewers, after you get through the choir, and then either before entering the chancel or once you get to the point where you're going to rebuild the orb. Now, we'll cover a few of the more dangerous levels where you can do some tricks to make it a little bit easier or safer. In the south block of the prison, you can take the left path first to grab the hammer, then slowly go down the hall and up the stairs to the left. Once the monster spawns, just run back down the hall and hide. Then once it's safe, run back up those stairs all the way down and go to the left to grab the chipper. You can then also run straight down the hall to the cell with the hole under the bed and immediately use the hammer and chipper. Once you have the option between going to the cistern and the morgue, go to the cistern first so that it will not have an active monster. The sewers I thought would be kind of difficult, but I actually messed up when trying to distract the monster and still was able to make it out. Just make sure you close the doors behind you as you run through, and you'll probably be good. Once in the nave, be sure not to go to the chancel until after you have all of the orb pieces. Going into the choir, I thought it would be pretty tough, but it was actually a fairly easy level to get through. Once you enter, you'll need to run to the room on the left and pick up the orb piece there. You can then hug the wall on your right and go straight across to the bridge on the other side. As you go over it, a monster will spawn behind you, but just keep running and turn left while hugging the wall to your right. Eventually, you'll get to the second room, where you can grab the next orb piece. Once you leave the door of this area, run straight across and a monster will spawn. You can jump onto the fallen pillar and run across the chasm to get away from this one. Then hug the wall on your right side until you reach the very last room and grab the orb piece from there. Once you leave this room, you can run straight out, and once you get past the open area on the left, start hugging the left wall and run until you reach the first bridge. Run across the bridge into the door to leave the choir. Once you're ready to go back to the chancel to fix the orb and finish the game, you'll need to run up the stairs to spawn the monster. After it spawns, run all the way back down to the door, and that will cause it to despawn. At this point, you can go over to the cog room, jam that, and then rebuild the orb. Do not rebuild the orb before jamming the cogs, as that will cause an extra monster to spawn, and nobody has time to deal with all that. Once the orb is fixed and the inner sanctum is able to be accessed, you'll need to run down the hall, but don't go through the door until after the white light flashes. That should reset your sanity to crystal clear, which you'll need in order to survive the inner sanctum. Now be sure to go through the inner sanctum with your lantern drawn the entire time. And after the second blood sacrifice, run to the right to try to avoid being hit by the shadow. After that, you just need to knock down the pillars and you'll get the Masochist achievement. At this point, you'll also get the Insanity achievement for getting all other achievements in the game. And with that, we now have 100% of the achievements in Amnesia: The Dark Descent. If you liked the video or got value from it, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with what game you'd like me to cover next. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon to support the channel, the link is in the description below.